Hey, this is Chuck, and you are listening to Fans with Bands, the podcast where we talk to the fans and the bands they dig about life, music, and whatever the hell else we want to talk about. Today on Fans with Bands, we are talking to the awesome singer-songwriter Judy Banker, along with collaborator and recording engineer Dave Roof. Check it out. Hey, this is Chuck with Fans with Bands, and I am talking to Judy Banker and Dave Roof. Judy and Dave so Judy is actually the main songwriter, and Dave is in your band. Is that correct?
Right. Dave is actually has been my backbone. I write the songs, and when I got started out, really like my first recording project. We were just talking about it the other day. Dave, is that it was released in 2014.
Uh-huh.
And, I hadn't recorded anything before that. Oh, yes, I had recorded with other people or backed them up on recordings, but this was my first project. And Dave, I knew you. I'm not even sure how I knew you. You played with Dick, and I met you that way. And
yeah, I think it was probably one of those multi-act benefit shows at the Arc where we first met. I know that was the place where I met John, so I must have met the two of you together.
Right. And maybe, this I don't have a linear brain, so it's like I know you played with Jay and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I knew I wanted to record at Dave's studio, and because I don't know, just trusted Dave. He seemed like a solid guy and all that kind of stuff. And
yeah.
And it was a very, very like raw time in my life because my husband had just passed away. Alan, I point to his square like he can see me. John was one of Alan's best friends, and it was just a time, to lose John.
Yeah.
John and I played music together, and we played with Jay Steelstra, and so you get when you lose somebody, a lot of times if anybody here has lost anyone, you kind of know you get about a 2-week window where you get to be a mess, and then the rest of the time you kind of have to just sort of suck it up and cry into the pillow and all that kind of stuff. And I decided I could cry into a microphone. My eureka moment. So I wrote a CD, and it was and recorded it at Dave's studio. And even to this day doesn't know how he was such a you're such a great person, Dave, and so even tempered. And I was just like this, fragile. I don't know what I was doing, and but it was a great experience recording.
Well, you may not remember from that time because obviously there was a lot going on and taking your whole mental psyche. But one of the things that I made a real point to do is I never asked you about the story behind the songs because I knew where the song was coming from, and I'm like, okay, I don't need to take it there. Judy will take it there if we need to, and it worked. It worked great. You were a total trooper through that process.
There's one song on that CD called it's called How Many Times, and it's like, how many times will I cry for you? And the chorus is how many times. Anyway, I repeated, and Dave went 15.
I think it was, if I remember right, I think it was like 39 actually.
Closer.
Oh man. And so in joining us are fans of Judy's. So we've got Richard, we've got Robin, we've got Alan, Tina, Johnny, Michael, and Rod. How's everybody doing?
Good. How are you?
All right. Fantastic. It's great to be able to see all of you here. And even though it's virtual, it's still awesome to share some time with you. I do like to turn things over to the fans and kind of get your perspective as far as like, when did you discover Judy, and what was it about her music that kept you entranced and pulled in to stay a fan over the years? So let's start with how about Alan?
Are you going to call on us, huh?
Oh yeah.
Sorry, here I am. I'm in the middle of cooking dinner, so I'll see how much. In fact, I missed your question. What was it?
Sorry. So Alan, how did you become a fan of Judy's?
Oh well, gee, I knew John and Judy and used to play only occasionally with John, but I don't know. At some point, well, in 2010, I moved to New York, but in 2013, I guess Judy contacted me somehow and said, "Hey, do you want to play some tracks?"
Right.
So we had to figure out how to do that. I had no experience in recording remotely, so I did that, and then but that was the first time, I guess, we played. And I came to town, I think, and played for at Johnny's, and so that was, I think that was the first time we played officially.
Yep, exactly, and Alan's in the band. I mean, Alan can't get out of the band.
And is Alan? Alan, do you play the steel? Is that?
Yeah, pedal steel.
Yeah. So I gotta tell you, that's pedal steel, especially on Buffalo Motel, is fantastic. Love it.
Oh, nice.
It's spectacular.
Thank you.
So Tina, how about you?
Okay,
how did you become a fan?
All right. I was waiting for the axe to fall. Okay. Well, actually, I think Judy and I became friends first, but what happened was we met originally through, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Judy, but there was a show that our friend Dick Siegel was doing. And we got introduced there and chatted and laughed about Judy and John and me and my husband. And then for a couple of years, we'd see each other at like a get together here and there, or a show, somebody else's show or something. And we would constantly be just introduced, always, like everybody would introduce us again, and that just became a joke. And then we just started talking and stuff. And then, I don't remember what the first show I saw was. I saw it, you and John playing together, Judy, but I don't remember exactly where. Just kind of went from there, I guess. And
very cool. Awesome. How about Rod?
I don't know, actually. I haven't known Judy very long. I guess it was when I was making the record at Dave's, and Dave, you talked about her all the time. I mean, that Judy, you were just like constantly coming up in conversation because you'd just done a gig or something like that. So you were sort of this this mysterious but immense figure, like over the horizon, that I had never actually met, even though I'd heard of you for a long time. But I don't remember when we actually met face to face.
Right. I'm wondering if it was. I wonder if it was at your gig.
Maybe so, at the CD release show. Yeah, that could be. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember thinking, oh, she's here. That's cool. I must have really made it now.
Oh, fantastic. Robin.
I was just trying to think about that. I remember seeing Judy once before I knew her. I think at Top of the Park, maybe. At maybe that side, the stage, the
Grove stage.
And then,
yeah.
And then when I started kind of really following local music and going to Johnny's, and then I don't remember the first show I saw her there, and I think maybe that's where we met, but I'm not positive. And then, I would say it was probably around 2015 when I met you, or 2016.
I think so. Yeah.
Like that. Yeah.
Very cool.
I love all her songwriting and music. It's wonderful, and she's assembled such a fabulous band.
Yeah.
To accompany her and everything. Yeah, and then she's been a very sweet customer, but I treasure her friendship with that. And she's a wonderful person, and I'm glad she's came into my life.
Very cool.
Here.
And and just so that everyone knows, as far as if you're listening, Robin's a photographer, awesome photographer. And so she's done lots of your promo pictures. Is that correct?
A lot. Yeah. We've done a lot of, I did yeah, I think the first individual artists sitting with you, we went all over, we went to Seitz's.
Oh, awesome.
Poor Judy. I was having so much fun. We like kept going a million places. She's probably like, enough already. Then I get home, they have like 800 pictures to go through.
But yeah, a lot of band photos and tons of lots of stuff.
Well, I don't know if you all know, but Chuck is an amazing photographer and he captures great shots, live shows. Chuck's amazing. So check out Chuck's photography.
Oh, thanks. So let's switch over to Richard.
Yeah,
Richard Banker.
yes, I think we've had a bit of a start already. So by Judy actually finding me on this Phil Oakes Facebook site, which we both go on, and we sort of started to we realised of each other's existence, and then Judy very kindly sent me a couple of the CDs to listen to, and it's certainly been getting quite a bit of attention. It's I don't normally come across sort of really good sort of country rock music, which I've not really got that much into, but certainly I really, I very much appreciated your music, and it's very, very strange. It's listening to the rest of you talking about going to various venues. It feels like, well, in Derby, England, it's about the same sort of thing, but just not a different continent,
Yeah.
Because what last 5 years I've been playing in open mic. Nothing is getting towards recording music. We're just going around various open mics, which I did when I retired because I wanted something to do with my life, and but, and I had to more or less shoehorn my way in, and for younger people as well.
Yeah, well, it's there's never a wrong time to go play music. So
no, you got it right. Yeah, that's it.
Let's see, Johnny, can you hear us? Oh, it looks like you're muted. Uh-oh. Here comes a bit of editing.
Bottom left. I'll text him that.
Oh, I think you may be getting it. Very close. There he is.
Can you hear me?
Hey,
we can.
there he is.
Oh, good.
Excellent. So Johnny, how did you become acquainted with Judy and Dave?
Well, I'll tell you, I had this 20-some-year-old poker game that with a bunch of ragtag friends, and John was part of that. And I must have met Judy sometime at Old Town with John or something. And then when John passed away, Judy asked me if I would MC the celebration. And I go, Judy, I'm a roast master. I don't do that kind of stuff. And she said, well, that's what we want. And so anyways, one thing led to another, that we had a beautiful celebration in John's life. And then Judy saved my schoolhouse for me. And then I said, you ought to do your CD. And so that's how I met Dave. And I love sitting here with three of my favorite people. Chuck, it was so great meeting you through Madeline and Julian. And when Judy said you guys were doing this, I said, yeah, I want to. I'm so terrible at getting on computers, but I want to try it.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'm so happy you made it, because it's great to see you, because I've thought of you often, and we've had texting and emails, but I haven't seen you in probably, I don't know, a year and a half, maybe 2 years.
At least, yeah.
Yeah. So it's good. It's great to see you.
And Chuck wrote,
it's almost as if nobody's seen anybody for the last year.
Yeah.
True.
It's been a weird year.
Let's see. Michael, can you hear us?
Oh, there's Michael.
Yes. Hey.
Hey.
What? Hi.
Hey.
There you are. Hi. First time I met Judy was I went out to see my old pal Dave at a show at the only time I'd ever been to Johnny's Speakeasy, And you know, it was the first time I met Judy.
Very cool.
Not much of a story.
It's a good one though, because Johnny's Speakeasy, for anyone listening, is this fantastic hidden gem of Americana in this, like, it's basically an old basement, isn't it, of a house? Or yeah, an old fruit cellar, but it's gigantic. It's huge, and it's so cool because you do not expect it at all. You walk in and then head down these stairs, and boom, there's this awesome stage, and yeah, super cool place. Let's see, Ben, can you hear us? Hey there, Ben.
Hey, Ben.
Oh, Ben.
Who knows how Ben knows Judy?
This is my son.
Well, Ben's just gonna lurk then.
Yeah.
He's like, I met her, as soon as I came into the world. How about Marcy? Can you hear us, Marcy? Oh, I don't think we have any audio there either. All right, well, we'll circle back if their mics start working. So Judy, at the beginning of 2020, you put out Buffalo Motel, fantastic album. I love, it has that deeply personal songwriting that you've had throughout your albums, but I feel like the music on this album has transcended. It's so rich. The arrangements are so vivid and deep, and the recording, everyone's performance is fantastic. Just like I mentioned, Alan's pedal steel. Yeah, I mean, everything fantastic. Your voice. So I'm curious though, and I think we may have touched upon it a little bit as far as songwriting, but for that album, is the songwriting more affected? Like, do you come at it with everything arranged and how you're envisioning the everyone else in the band playing, or is it more the shell of the song with the overall intent, and then you work with the band to like flesh out all the details?
I think it was the former on the first couple of CDs that I did, but this last one, I wish Ben's mic was on, because Ben and Dave, and Alan, what we did on this one is Dave is always a producer, and I brought Ben in to help with this because all these years he'd been listening to me play songs and record songs and things like that, and it became known to me that he had other ideas of things I could do with the music. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, let's do that. So we set up, I think it was in early 2019 or something. It must have been, or at the end of 2018 even. We started to set up pre-production sessions for the band. Alan and John Sperendi and Tony Pace and Brian Williams and Dave and Ben and I would get together in my living room. Dave brought over all his recording equipment, and we just kind of jammed on the songs.
Oh.
And Ben would have different ideas, or different band members had ideas about what they thought maybe we could go in this direction or that direction. And there was sort of a theme of, we like your music, the stuff that you've put out, but let's do something different. And it was great. I don't know, Dave, I thought we had a blast.
Yeah, for sure. We would put on, like Ben especially would find something, we'd be playing, we'd try a couple of different things, and then all of a sudden Ben would pull out some obscure indie rock thing and say, hey, check this out. And it was like totally unlike what we were doing already, but we'd hear it and go, oh, hey, that's cool. Let's try moving in that direction. And yeah, it was very organic and sort of a distinct process of trying to discover what to do to move these tunes some other way.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely has, like I mentioned, your songwriting has the lyrics. I mean, I love Tumbleweed. It's a great song. And the lyrics are always, to me, they feel so personal. But the music this time around, like I said, really expansive. I almost felt like it's a traveling journey, and I don't know if that fed into it at all, because the name implies some type of being on the road. But I was curious if that kind of theme of movement, of being on the road, traveling was filtering into there.
Absolutely. Again, I think it evolved, or it snowballed as we worked on it. But Buffalo Motel was there was a year when Ben was young, and John and I, we got in the car and drove cross country to Montana. And a car that fell apart on the way. We had a fan on the dashboard. I mean, it was just like one of those cross country trips where we stopped at every freaking side, show kind of thing. It was like such a blast. We didn't even have a map. John thought he knew how to get to Montana, and then realized he didn't. But one of the nights we stayed at this, I always called it the Buffalo Motel because it was a giant fiberglass buffalo outside, and it's like this little one-story motel. And there was heat lightning, and it could not have been better. I could not have been happier. It was like we had such a good time, and so that was such a peak moment in my memory, that Buffalo Motel, and so I wrote a song about that, and then that kind of and then. For the album design, I wanted to call the album Buffalo Motel, and then I was hoping I could get a neon sign from that motel
Oh, yeah.
cover. And I Googled Buffalo Motel neon sign, and one popped up, this great photograph of this guy on Instagram, and Todd Franklin, and it was just the perfect photo. I was proud of myself, and no other photos like it. It was like the only one on Google or Tumblr or whatever the heck. I don't even know what I'm talking about. But online was the only thing I could find. And I messaged Todd and went, please, 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 can I use this photograph, and I'll pay you to whatever. And he went, oh no, just give me credit. That's great. That's great. Then we sort of became friends, and it was awesome. And yes, so that feeling of big sky country, of like sailing down the highway, heading somewhere with your hair flying, was behind that idea of wanting. And Ben kept talking about this, that a bigger sound. He kept calling it muscular, and I'm like, well, muscular, but I knew what he meant, like something that evoked a big spacious feeling and lots of layers and things. And the guys just. I mean, the band and Dave, like, you're bringing all that recording equipment over and recording every take that we came up with. It was that process actually was a great journey. It was so much fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It sounds very, very organic in that respect. Did you actually use the recording that you did at the house? Or was that just the rough takes so that you could get the idea and then go to the studio to do the final?
Right.
Yeah, it was the latter. We were really just sort of woodshedding it and listening back to those to sort of pick what really worked after the night was passed. But then we re-recorded it all. But most of it, though, was recorded basically live. Like there might be a few overdubs on a song, but for the most part, the core of every song was recorded with all of us in the studio together, playing at the same time as a unit.
Oh, awesome. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So because you get that experience as well, that kind of live feel. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
And that was recorded, Dave, at your studio, Rooftop Recordings, correct?
That's right.
Cool. Very nice. Well, I don't want to take over all the questioning if people want to interrogate these two. Does anybody have any questions for Judy or Dave?
We should ask Dave about the expansion of Rooftop Recording Studio.
Expansion?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's hear about that, Dave.
Well, two big things happened over the last year while things were shut down. There was nothing happening for March and April and May. And I I decided I was going to head to Home Depot, and I built 2 isolation booths here in the studio because figuring, like, just thinking about what's going to happen once people are able to leave their home again. Well, there better be a safe place for somebody to go and sing without a mask on. So I built 2 spots that people can go and close the door, take their mask off and sing away. And then, still have other musicians with them to play live without anybody being endangered by the virus, the dreaded virus. So, yeah, a lot of physical improvements in the room. The studio is, for those who haven't been here, I've taken over the garage in my house, which is a large, like 3.5 car sized garage. And we bought the house with the plan in mind that was going to become the recording studio. And it finally mostly looks like one now when you're standing in there. And then the other big upgrade was I bought a fancy piano this last year. I got a Steinway, so it's outfitted for the next one.
Oh,
wow, that's awesome! Holy cow, that sounds fantastic.
Well, the other big upgrade, Dave, is that you got all this video stuff, right? You have all these cameras and lights and things, and so that's a huge upgrade, I think.
Yep. That's a whole changeover in service. And actually, we filmed with Judy last Saturday for the Michigan Music Alliance. Share the Music? Is that what the festival is called? Am I getting that right?
Yes, I believe so. It's Share the Music.
Or spread the music, share the music. I forget. But anyway,
it might be Spread. Yeah, I think it is Spread. Yeah.
Right. And that's airing next weekend. Is that right, Judy?
Right. March 26th that morning. We're the early birds. 10 o'clock.
10 a.m.
Nice.
Judy Banker with your coffee.
Yeah.
There you go. Fantastic.
I saw a little bit of that footage, and it just looks really great, So it's going to be cool.
And the sound too. That's the thing, Dave.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Was it videotaped and recorded at the studio?
Yes.
Yes. Very cool. Awesome.
I think I saw one of the earlier concerts, which I listened to very intently. It's got this really nice sort of atmosphere, nice sort of setting that you got it in, and the music sounded great, I must admit.
Nice.
I think that must have been in Barry Lonick's barn.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Awesome.
these collaborations you're doing, Dave, with all the people in their own little areas, and it just blows my mind how beautiful it sounds and how it's all just perfectly aligned. And I'm not very technical, but
well, most of that,
awesome.
So I've done that rooftop artist concerts. Those are actually shot live here in the studio. So what you're seeing with that is people on one side of the studio, people on the other side of the studio, and then a separate camera in each of the booths. So they're actually playing live in real time, sort of in the same space, but it gets edited together and it sort of looks a little separated, which is, it's less than ideal from a videographer standpoint, but it's COVID friendly. It works.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
Nice.
I think it's really cool.
Anybody else have questions for Judy or Dave? No?
One I asked before, but maybe now that you're recording, I didn't realize we weren't recording the first time. Judy just recorded a new song.
Right.
So maybe you could talk about that.
Yeah, I was just saying that was, I have not written any songs except one in this past year. I just didn't have it in me. I think my little camera and went out, my phone camera, and that became my way of coping with the world rather than writing songs. So I wrote a song as part of a international artist collaborative. It's sort of visual artists, I think maybe some dance artists and some musicians, and about 1,000 people across the world who participated in this. It's sort of based on the telephone game, where what I don't know is if there was one message that we all were responding to, or I have a feeling there were several different messages. But I was, for example, I was sent a video from an artist that I didn't know, and there was no information. And I was supposed to watch this video, and then based on what message I got from that video myself, create a song. And my song went out to
Wow.
somebody else, and then they had to figure out kind of what's the message of my song, and so like trying to keep some sort of unity going across that. And we've all been sworn to secrecy. Nobody has seen this exhibit. I don't know what my song inspired. I have never met the artist whose video
That is,
was inspired by. And so I wrote a song, and I just recorded it in my dining room. And part of it for me was part of the message I got from her video, and it may have been completely like off message for her, but was that it felt like a small world. And so I wanted to do a small, like homespun version of the song just from my dining room. But now I'm thinking like that'll be perfect for this project, but I wanted to do a little more with the song. So took it out to Dave's a couple weeks ago. Was that
something like that? The week before we filmed with the band.
right? And wanted to keep it low production, like not a lot of instruments, but just some layers. So John Sprendi and Dave and I met out at Dave's studio, and I don't know, was it Sprendi right away went, Dave, play the whirly.
No, he had a whirly idea, and I told him to play the whirly. I'm like, no, John, you do it. You have the idea. Let's hear what you got.
Yeah. So
what's it called?
it's called After It Ends.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so when was it coming out again? I think I missed that.
We were sworn to secrecy, and so I'm not allowed to release it till.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right. So we'll have to watch your page and wait for it to be announced. And all right, cool. Awesome.
such an interesting idea. It strikes me as, like it's just, there's this real thread of trust weaving through it, like trust that the next person's going to take your stuff and run with it in a way, that you might like or might be interesting, or it's just a very cool idea.
Yeah, no, I loved being part of that project. It felt, it was really inspiring. And I'm really anxious to see the exhibit. I think it's like the largest collaboration of this kind ever.
Wow.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That will be cool. Anybody else have questions for Judy and Dave?
I have a question.
Are you two working on anything together right now? Besides polishing up?
What are we working on, Dave?
Well, that and getting the video ready to go for the Michigan Music Alliance are the big ones. I want to know when your book of photography is coming out.
No, there's
kidding,
two
Judy.
much better photographers on this little screen right here.
No, Judy posts amazing pictures every day. I look forward to
They're
seeing
really
what
good
she
pictures.
took.
I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the picture down West Liberty with the sun. It was perfect.
That probably happens like one day a year or something, right?
That was
Right, lined
yesterday.
up?
I went into I finished up I'm on Zoom all day long talking to clients, and then I had with daylight savings, I had enough time to run to the woods and try to get my brain cleared, and then the sun was setting, and I was catching pictures in the woods, and that was pretty and everything like that. And then I was walking back to my car, and I looked to the right on Liberty as I was crossing the road, and it was like, what is happening? And I stopped in the middle of the road and just hoped nobody ran me over.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it was.
That was a great shot.
Yes.
Anybody else have questions for Judy or Dave? No? So I can run with it. All right. So this is something I like to ask, and it involves participation from everybody, because I just like to know, what was the first album that you bought?
Oh, I remember mine.
All right. So Judy, go for it. What was the first one you got?
Peter, Paul, and Mary, the one with the red brick on it.
Oh,
It's probably their first. It was their first album. Yeah, I bought it.
cool.
For 50 cents.
Dave, how about you?
Boy, I don't exactly remember, but I was a jazz fusion nerd in middle school. I was a trumpet player, and probably like Chuck Mangione live at the Hollywood Bowl, or, you know, something in that vein would have been my first record.
Awesome.
I don't remember. I still have all those records though.
And Richard, how about you?
What happened was that first year at university, I got to share with a guy that was very much into music, just pretty arbitrarily. If it hadn't been for that, I wouldn't be where I am now, basically. And he had a couple of, he had one, Phil Oakes' second LP, and I it's one of those that you love you got the liner notes on the back that's, I really love the look of it, and also to hear the music. And a lot of the records I ended up by buying were based on my roommate's collection. But there's a secondhand record shop in the town where I grew up. I thought, there it is. Okay, I've laid my, that's it, you know.
Yeah.
Went from there on, you know.
Fantastic.
That's funny.
Robin, how about you?
You guys are gonna laugh. I remember taking Christmas money when I was 5 years old and buying the Urban Chipmunks album. That's when I think Urban Cowboy was a big movie, and the Chipmunks made a version.
Oh,
I got
man.
that.
Do you still have it?
Yeah, I think I do.
I gotta hear that. That sounds awesome.
Next time you're over, Chuck.
Oh man. Rod, how about you?
It was the Monkees' first album.
The Monkees. Oh.
And it was totally, it totally, I don't want to say changed my life, but I can really trace like a lot of stuff back to that record, you know. It was such a great record.
Yeah. I remember watching that show and just thinking that was the best thing ever, you know, that and the Partridge Family.
Mm. Yeah. But you know, actually before that, one of the weirdest records ever was I was like in my basement and with some friends, and I was probably 8, you know, and we found a 45 of Great Balls of Fire by Jerry Lee Lewis.
Oh.
But we didn't know who Jerry Lee Lewis was. We thought it was Jerry Lewis, right? so we put it on expecting, you know, like a comedy record with a bunch of weird noises, and we got exactly that. You know, we just thought this is like Jerry Lewis's funniest ever, you know, thing, you know. And it was years before I learned that it wasn't actually Jerry Lewis. So that's really my first love affair with the record, I think.
That's great.
It is. Michael, how about you?
You know, there were a lot of records that I owned that other people bought for me, that I recall. But, you know, the first, I bought 2 records at the same time with my own money. And those 2 records were Robin Williams' Reality, What a Concept, and the Blues Brothers' first record.
Oh, yeah. I remember a buddy of mine when I was a kid, he got that the Blues Brothers record, and we played the hell out of that. Especially, you know, the Rubber Biscuit.
Rubber Biscuit, yeah. It was a briefcase full of blues.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, I love that record. Both those records.
Yeah. Tina.
Well, what it wasn't was the following, because I was 11 when the Beatles came over, and I had a sister. My sister was 4 years older than me, so she would go out and buy all the Beatles records, and she would take me along to Sam Goody, which I don't know if that was out here or not, but that was the record store nearby. We'd walk to it every time a new single came out, and then eventually she would buy the album. So I didn't need to buy any Beatles at all. And then I had a friend in junior high who introduced me to all the, music that was a little more off the beaten path than what I was hearing amongst friends or family. So there's 3 that I can think of that I'm not sure which one of these 3 were first, but was Roberta Flack Chapter 2, was the Phil Oakes album, the brown and white one. I still have both of those. And the other one was The Doors.
Oh, wow.
And
cool.
I still have that one too, actually.
Very cool. Yeah. Yeah, those are all 3 great albums.
Yeah.
Johnny, how about you?
Well, the very first album I bought for my older sister Rayetta, and it was Johnny Mathis. She was a big Johnny Mathis fan. And the first album I bought for myself was, I think it was The Four Seasons.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Very nice. And Ben, can you hear us? Do you get your mic working?
Mic set up, he said. I don't know what I don't know. I just got from him.
All right. We'll have to come back, do a special episode with Ben to get his feedback.
What was yours? Did you say?
What was mine? Yeah. Oh, so very first album I bought myself was Elton John's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road.
Oh.
Yeah. I had a friend, so I lived in Detroit until I was 11, and his name was Jimmy, and he was, I guess we were, 10, 8, 9, 10. And he could sing, like he knew all the lyrics to Elton John, and he sounded like Elton John when he sang. It was like the craziest thing. So I was kind of a fan of Jimmy, and he was a fan of Elton John. And so then I became a fan of Elton John. And then, from there, I was like, I just listened to Elton John until I got into, somebody turned me on to Kiss. And that led to the heavy metal road that, I'm still traveling today.
Quite a shift from Elton John to Kiss.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
the outfits, I guess, are the common theme, right?
Platform shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a common element, flashiness, I guess. So we just have a little bit more time, and I have another question for all of you, and it is kind of controversial. So hopefully I won't offend anybody, but pizza, pineapple or no pineapple? Judy.
No pineapple.
No pineapple. Dave.
Yeah, I'm not so much for the pineapple. I've had it before. I would never turn away pizza unless it's got meat on it nowadays. But yeah, not my first choice.
All right. Rod.
Definitely pro pineapple here.
Oh, all right.
Pineapple.
Right. So what's your favorite combination with pineapple?
Pepperoni. In fact, tonight we had pizza, and we debated about pineapple, but we got red peppers instead. So pepperoni and pineapple is great.
Awesome. Richard.
Chuck, I'm going to interrupt you. My battery's just about ready to go, but this is great. It was good.
Well, thanks,
you guys. And if I do pineapple, it's got to be with ham.
All right.
Bye, Johnny.
All right.
Bye, Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny. Thanks for joining, man. Richard.
I'm really not keen on pineapple, so it's got to be pizza, probably with meat. I've not had it for quite a long time, but I did used to have it at one time, so that's my.
All right. Robin.
I do like it. Ham, pineapple, and green olives.
Green olives. A little savory saltiness in there. Nice. Michael.
I am definitely pro pineapple. I prefer it with bacon.
Oh,
yeah.
Which bacon is considered a fruit and a vegetable. So.
That's right.
And Tina.
Oh, well, not to be too antagonistic, but absolutely not in a million billion years would I have pineapple on a pizza. Have I made my point?
strong no from Tina on pineapple on pizza. All right.
So you're saying maybe someday?
Yeah. Maybe in a million billion years. Yeah, I'll catch up with me after that.
Right. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for being a part of Fans with Bands. Really great to see you, talk with you. Can't wait to actually, I think we're getting close to being able to be together again and see live music. So I'm hoping that that's sooner than later, but until then, thanks again for joining.
Thank you. This was wonderful.
Great to see everybody.
And Judy and Dave, you guys are great.
Cool. Thank you.
Really wonderful, always.
So good to see you, Judy.
It's really nice to be able to be over here, just I just want to spin along from you.
Thank you.
It was worthwhile staying
right.
up anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going to do it somehow or other.
Nice.
Great. All right. Thank you guys.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Hi, everybody.
Bye. I'm
Bye,
waving.
bye, Dave. Bye.
Thanks again to Judy Banker and Dave Roof, as well as fans Johnny, Michael, Alan, Rod, Richard, Robin, and Tina for joining me on this episode of Bands with Bands. Do yourself a favor and check out Judy's latest album, Buffalo Motel. It is fantastic. And keep your eyes open for upcoming virtual and hopefully live shows with Judy Banker. See the show notes for all the details and links. These are tough times for everyone in the creative industries such as music. Your support of live streaming, purchasing music, and merchandise is critical. If you can help out your local artists, please do. If you are in the Michigan area, consider following the Playing in the Detroit Area Tonight Facebook page. It is a place for fans and bands to support each other and share our combined love of music. Thank you all so much for listening. Be sure to hit subscribe on your favorite podcast service to get each and every episode of Fans with Bands. Spread the word by rating the show and leaving a comment. We want to hear what you think. You can keep in touch by following us on social media. This is a Life in Michigan production. Until next time, be well and kick out the jams.